Facing a shortage of N95 masks, healthcare professionals are increasingly turning to air-purifying respirators. Industrial giant Cummins announcing a partnership with 3M to produce the filters that are used in manufacturing these highly advanced devices. Cummins CEO Tom Linebarger joins me on the phone today. Tom, thanks for joining us on CNBC.
Good morning, Seema. Thank you for having me.
Tell us more about this partnership with 3M and how fast you can retool your manufacturing facility in Wisconsin to speed up production of these devices.
Yes, thank you for that. We are working at top speed to get repositioned to be able to make these filters. The good news is that a lot of the technologies and capabilities we have for making industrial filtration appear to be applicable to this application, even though it's a medical and health-related application. So we're really pleased about that. We're relying heavily on 3M, who is already in the industry, to help us with testing and final approvals. But we have a lot of technology that's relevant, and we're putting it to work right away. Our employees have been working for a little over a month now to get ready to do this, and we're really excited to be announcing this partnership, and we expect to be in production next week.
Now, President Trump has invoked the Defense Production Act, Tom, on a number of companies, encouraging them to produce protective equipment and medical supplies. What's your dialogue been like with Washington and Vice President Pence, who used to be the governor of the state that you're headquartered in, around trying to leverage your engineering talent to make these respirators?
Well, we have been working really since the beginning of the crisis. You know, we started in January, actually, because we have quite a few operations in China, trying to find ways to contribute to the effort to protect employees and communities. And so our employees all over the world have been involved in that effort. And so we've been doing that for quite a few months now. In China, we were involved in the acquisition and distribution of masks. And now here in the U.S., we're involved in a number of other ways. But the most important one when we're talking about today is applying our filtration technology both to powered air respirators, as you mentioned, but also to N95 masks, where we've been able to apply some of our other filtration technology to, and we've now given it to other mask makers who are testing it for N95 masks as well. So in both cases, we've been working for some time now to provide these. And then, of course, we will collaborate with government, state, local, federal, as necessary to help in the effort. We are working with as many partners as we can to get into production safely as many places as we can.
You know, it's great to see, it's Sarah Eisen, Tom, to see you shift resources toward this effort. I'm just wondering, overview of your company right now, how many factories are actually up and running versus how many would normally be right now, and what's happening to the workers in the places where they're not?
That's a great question. And of course, across the world, it's a different situation. Since we are in so many locations, the situation in terms of facility closure and operations is very different. But broadly speaking, the vast majority of our operations are impacted in some way, either closed, partially open, or producing at a very limited amount. And that's just purely to make sure that we can operate safely. Even those essential operations, because we do provide engines for trucks, which, as you know, are critical for delivering food and medicines and things like that. So we do need to keep some operations open, including service operations for trucks to make sure they can continue on the road. But we are trying to limit those operations in the places where the virus is most contagious, and therefore our employees and the communities are most at risk. So we have a lot of our plants closed. All of our plants, for example, in southern Indiana are now closed. Most of our office people in the U.S. are working from home. More than 80% of our people are now outside the office working from home. I'm from my home office today, in fact, myself. So we have had most of them operating. In China now, most of our operations are operating fully again. So it's different phases in different parts of the world.
Yeah, and that's important to know given the exposure you have not just to China, but the Hubei province where you have plants there. Tom, given the number of plants that are closed, though, how would you quantify the impact of COVID-19 on your business, especially as we tend to look at the consumer-facing sectors like travel and restaurants and the severe impact it's had on their business? How would you sum it up for Cummins and the industrial sector?
Yeah, I think industrial sector, Cummins is representative, I think, of a lot of manufacturing companies where the impact of this pandemic has been significant. We are as I mentioned, closed or partially open in many places. And what we're working on now is trying to figure out ways to open again and get the economy going, but in a safe way. We have to figure out how to operate our plants differently. That means maintaining social distancing. That means tracking how the disease spreads in our community and through our operations if necessary. Testing, PPE, all other kinds of deployments to ensure that our employees have confidence that when they come back to work, they can do it in a safe manner. So a lot of our attention is focused on that. The impact on our sales will be dramatic. We don't know it fully, of course, yet. But we will see a dramatic impact on sales. We will see a dramatic impact on our workforce. And you may have heard, we announced a reduction in salaries for all of our salaried workers of about 20% across the range. And, of course, many of us at the senior levels reduced by more. But that was just a sacrifice we all had to take given the circumstances. And what we hope to see is as we find ways to come back to work safely, we can get started again and help boost the economy again, because I do think the manufacturing sector is a place where we can figure out with new procedures and new safety operations, we can figure out a way to get back to work safely as the disease begins to go past its peak and infection rates go down.